Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the Reds' top prospects from 2019. So to start off, Nick Senzel. Anything on Nick Senzel?
He was one of my favorite prospects ever, to be honest with you. Um, Former number two pick out of Tennessee. That draft didn't shape out to be the greatest draft, but uh, he was considered the best hitter in the draft that year. And some things just didn't pan out for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To all these guys, thanks for the memories, by the way. But
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of this video might not be very positive. Um, yeah, Senzel just didn't really pan out. A lot of injuries. Remember, just pretty seemed as if every time something was going well, he got hurt.
Yep.
Um, Number two, Taylor Trammell. Taylor Trammell plays for the Dodgers right now.
Newly acquired by the Dodgers, Taylor. Very new. Um, he was in the Bauer trade, so guess we can thank him for that. Thank
Mm-hmm.
him for a Cy Young. But another guy that I liked, he won MVP at the Futures game in DC. I forget what year that was. It was 18, maybe 19. But he had a home run and a triple, if I remember correctly. But never really saw the big leagues with us, and was traded in the three-teamer for Bauer. So,
Yeah, from my understanding, he hasn't done too much in the bigs.
no, it's kind of been a fourth outfielder or quad A player. Seattle really just had a lot of talented outfielders, so there wasn't much of a fit there. And then we'll see what happens with the Dodgers.
Third, three and four are two guys that more successful. Number three, Hunter Green, who we inked to a long-term deal. Um, we'll talk about Hunter Green more when we get Zach on, in our weekly update video. But yeah, talk about Hunter for a little bit.
Yeah, I consider Hunter a friend of mine slightly. He knows who I am. I know who he is. Very nice guy. Um, Been a little up and down to start the year, but that's all right. Added a splitter as the third pitch. I think he's still messing around with that, especially trying to figure out location with that. But the Reds obviously believe in him with the extension and all. So hopefully he builds on that. The fastball originally was known for being pretty flat, but if I recall, in his last start against Milwaukee, fastball had 12 inches of vertical break, which is very good for him. So hopefully that's something to build on.
Yeah, I hope the best for Hunter. Also a big fan. Never met him, unlike you, but
Great
um,
guy. Great
friend
guy.
of the program. Number four is Jonathan India, our 2021 Rookie of the Year. How do you feel about India?
From what he's done this year, it's been great. On
Mm.
base has gone up. He's worked great at bats. Before all the injuries and suspensions, you know, there really wasn't much of a spot for him. And more than anything, he was going to be a utility player and maybe get some work in the outfield. As a who knows how that would have gone or how that will go, but um, I think he's turned into the mentality of do whatever the team needs and whatever's best for the team. And you need people like that on your team if you're going to be
Absolutely.
contending. So definitely like what I've seen from him, especially out of the leadoff spot with Friedel out. So
Yeah, one of my favorite players. I felt bad that he was getting kind of pushed out. There are a lot of trade rumors surrounding him in
yeah,
the off season.
I was
But
almost certain he was going to be traded, I'll be honest.
mhm. Yeah, but signed a 2-year contract. So who knows? He might be around for a while, and I'm not mad at that.
No,
Um, Number 5, Tony Santillan. Santillan?
Tony Santiago. But
Mhm.
yes,
Yeah.
um, he's actually kind of found himself again. He is in AAA right now, but he's back up to his original velos. I think he's sitting around 98, 99. So I mean, if he's got that kind of stuff, if he can keep it around the zone, I think he got something there. He's not on the 40 though, so
Mm.
get him up to the big league team. It might take a little bit of work or a reliever going to the 60 day. Just not so convenient with our 40 man kind of packed right now.
Mhm. 26 years old, second round pick in 2015. Um, 6'3", 285.
Big guy.
Um,
Yep.
do you think he has a future with the Reds at all?
Yeah. I mean, I think he'll be up at some point this year. I mean, especially with pitchers, injuries are going to happen. And I would be willing to bet somebody goes on the 60-day DL, IL. I don't wish that upon anybody, but that's how baseball works. So I do think we'll see him at some point. And, you know, I mean, it's probably his last shot to, stay on the 40 man, at least with the Reds. Um, so if he has some good stuff, I bet they'll keep him on.
Number 6, Tyler Stevenson, first round pick in 2015. 27 years old, 6'4" catcher. Um, Tell me what you think about number 37.
My hopes are starting to dwindle a little bit. Um, it's just so frustrating because 2 years ago, he was our best hitter, but far and away our best hitter. Um, and yeah, our team wasn't as strong, but when he was on the field, he was hitting over 300, just barreling baseball after baseball. And ever since then, he's been pretty plagued with injuries, which are pretty unfortunate. But um, right now, it's not like he's hitting the ball soft, making weak contact. He's just beating the ball into the ground. I think the last I saw, it was about 85% ground ball rate.
Mm.
Pretty absurd.
Yeah, only a 695 OPS last year. Um, he's doing a little bit better so far this year. He had that Oppo bomb tonight.
Yeah, he actually
Uh,
looked pretty good tonight.
yeah, he's got new facial hair that I
Yeah,
noticed.
he does.
Um, so Tyler looking good, man. Um, Number 7, Mike Ciani, a St. Louis Cardinal right now. What can you tell us about Mike?
I think the Reds kind of saw him as a fourth, fifth outfielder kind of player. He's pretty fast. He'll steal you some bases. He plays just about Gold Glove defense. I think the whole question was the bat. And he had a solid year in 2022 in Chattanooga in Double A, but last year never really took another step. I think he had a quick cameo with us, if I remember correctly.
You're correct.
But then I believe we DFA'd him and St. Louis picked him up. The good news is, though, I do think the Reds have a Michael Ciani role type of player waiting in Blake Dunn. Um, Kind of the same uh, archetype of a player, fast, great defense. But Dunn actually has some power and he's actually hit really well in the minors so far. I'm pretty sure he's hurt right now with maybe a hand injury, but I wouldn't sweat losing Ciani too much. But I know he was a higher pick when he was drafted.
Yeah, fourth round pick in 2018. Um, idolized Mike Trout and wanted to be an outfielder, kind of like Mike Trout. Um, this is per MLB.com. But just never could get it going. In his cup of coffee with us, he had an OPS 334. Um, so just not great. Hopefully, he doesn't hurt us on the Cardinals.
Yeah, we hope not.
Number 8. This is a person we've talked about before, Vlad Gutierrez.
So Vlad has kind of gone all over the place the last month or so, really. But last year, he had Tommy John. Uh, he didn't really have a clear role with the Reds. I mean, he made some starts here and there, to show the bullpen here and there, but I don't really think there was a spot for him. Now, they actually could have used him last year when they were rolling out Randy Wynn, Michael Mario, and guys like that. But on this year's team, I don't really think there's a role for him. If I remember correctly, he signed with the Marlins on a minor league deal and then went through spring training with them. Might have made their team or something like that, and then
Correct.
recently got DFA'd and picked up by Milwaukee.
Yep. Spot
So
on.
kind of bouncing all over the place. This is his first year back from Tommy John, so hopefully he figures out a way to be successful in the big leagues.
Yeah, 2021 was kind of a promising year. Not great, but a 4.74 ERA, 9 wins, 6 losses. I know record isn't everything. 114 innings pitched with a 1.41 whip. But after that, kind of went downhill after that 2021 season. I remember he got suspended. Am I right? He got suspended.
Yeah,
Um,
he had a PED thing.
PEDs. Yep. So another person, hopefully he doesn't hurt us in the future on the Brewers.
Yeah.
Now, this is a player that fascinates me, Jose Siri.
Mm. He was I don't remember the year. I think it was the end of 2020 or 2021. I want to say 2020. Uh, they were finagling the 40-man roster. And for whatever reason, I forget who it was that they added, but it was someone older who it was going to be a temporary kind of stint. For whatever reason, they DFA'd Jose Siri, and he ended up getting picked up from Houston originally, and then now he's with Tampa, and I'm pretty sure he's their starting center fielder. Um, but he's a fascinating player. He's very toolsy. He can run, hit, throw, but the bat's a little inconsistent. But the glove's very good, and he's super fast. So
Mhm.
kind of stinks to lose him there. I'm not really sure what the front office was thinking when they DFA'd him because he didn't get a chance in the big leagues with us. But definitely one of the more bizarre choices and career trajectories for sure.
Yeah, Jose, 25 home run season last year. Um, I know he plays center field for those Rays, and they're always pretty good. So he's contributing to a winning team. Um, what do you think went wrong with the Reds? Do you think it was just they saw it a little bit too late because they released him when he was 25, 26?
Yeah, I mean, he was signed with the Reds in 2012, so he had been with the Reds for a very long time. Um, Not really sure what the Reds saw or didn't see. Um, oh, he's actually gone more places than I realized. But he was DFA'd in January of 2020 and then went from us to Seattle to San Francisco to Houston to Tampa. So I'm not really sure what the Reds didn't see, I guess. Um, I'm not looking at the stats. I don't have them in front of me, but if I had to guess, I would say the 2019 season, he was a little inconsistent with the bat.
Hmm.
I would say that was the guess.
Correct.
Um, so that's all I really got there.
Yep. Good luck to Jose Siri. Um, Doing pretty well this 2024 season with an 804 OPS so far. Number 10, Lyon Richardson, a second round pick from 2018. What can you tell us about Lyon?
I'm a big fan of Lyon personally. Uh, like you said, high draft pick. 2022, he did not pitch all year. He had Tommy John. Um, but he came back last year after the Reds added him to the 40 man, which was surprising to a lot of people, just considering he didn't have much professional experience under his belt. And to put someone on the 40 man when they're an A ball is definitely a decision. But he came out last year and fired, and uh, he went through A ball, double A, triple A, and even got some time with the big league team. Uh, for him, it's all about command. He's got all the stuff in the world. He throws uh, near 100. He's got a plus changeup. He's got a great curveball and slider, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, he screams bullpen arm, which is fine. Um, so for him, it's just repeating his delivery, keeping the command in check. But he definitely has the stuff to be an above average reliever. But right now, I believe he's in AAA still as a starter.
Yep. Started 3 games this season, started 24 last season. Um, yeah, career in the big leagues did not get off to a great start. He got shelled in that first
No,
game.
no, the first
Um,
game, Abrams and Lane Thomas went back to back off.
mhm. But only 24 years old. So um, definitely a shot that we see him up in the bigs even this year.
For sure. For sure.
Um, Number 11, Jacob Heatherly. This is someone who I'm not too familiar with. In fact, he doesn't have a profile picture on
He does not.
MLB.com.
I know he's still with us. I don't think, let me double check. Uh, I don't think he's on the Reds 40 man, but he actually might be. Let me double check that. He's not, but I do know he's still in the organization. Uh, the Reds clearly liked him enough to keep him in the organization. 25. He's pitched in 1 game so far this year. Did not go to plan. But last season he threw actually very well. 2.72 ERA, 53 innings, um, 91 strikeouts. So definitely something there. And um, honestly, right now the Reds need all the left-handed reliever depth that they can get. So Heatherly's definitely not a bad option to have with some depth.
Yeah, not too much to say about Heatherly. Like you said, only 25, so maybe has more time. Number 12, a name that we're very familiar with, TJ Friedel. Get well soon,
Yes.
TJ. What's TJ meant for the organization?
Well, he read well, he led the Reds in WAR last year. So very valuable player. They're definitely missing him right now, especially against the lefties. Friedel's interesting because he has reverse splits, meaning he
Hmm.
actually left-handers better as a left-handed hitter. Um, but even besides that, he gave the Reds great defense in center field. He led off most of the time. If not, he was either second or rounded out the order. Um, but definitely a very valuable guy. Stole what 25 bases last year, somewhere around there. So
Um,
kind of a do-it-all player.
yeah, great season last year. 819 OPS, as you said, led the team in WAR. Pretty much spot on the stolen bases. 18 home runs, solid against lefties. Really unfortunate that he had to break his wrist right before the season started.
Yeah,
But yeah, TJ Friedel, great. My one concern, he is 28, so he had his breakout year at age 27.
yeah, I
Um,
agree. And they do have control over him for a while though. So
they
uh,
do.
I don't know if he'll be a free agent until he's 33 or 34. So that's definitely a good thing.
Yes. Um, 13, Stuart Fairchild, second round pick out of Wake Forest.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, talk about what Stu has meant to this organization.
Well, I saw Stu play before he was ever a professional. Uh, it had to have been 2015 or 16. Wake was in the ACC tournament in Louisville, and I was playing um, in a baseball tournament there, and actually saw him hit a home run. So I knew back then I didn't know many amateur players, but he was one of them.
Mhm.
Uh, but interesting path for Stewart. He started with us, and then he was actually in Archie Bradley deal that brought Bradley here for, gosh, 2 months deadline deal. Um, so he was with Arizona. I think he bounced around a decent amount and actually ended up back with us. Um, but he's actually played very well to start the year. I mean, he's kind of a platoon outfielder, hits lefties well, plays solid defense, which is just fine for a fourth outfielder. But definitely one of our better hitters right now against lefties. So
Absolutely, very fast, hitting 304 right now against lefties. He's great. Another guy who's a little bit older, 28 years old. But Stu, definitely a welcome player in our organization. Definitely better than his 13 grade. Now we
yeah,
get into a couple of players who, not a lot of profile pictures here. Scott Moss is number 14 in 2019. Anything you know about him?
he was also in the Trevor Bauer deal.
Oh,
He ended up going to Cleveland with old friend Yasiel Puig, um, while we got Trevor Bauer and traded Taylor Trammell out to San Diego. Um, so, like I said, part of a deal. He was with Cleveland, it looks like, until the end of 2021. Uh, latched on with the Phillies, and has kind of just been a career minor leaguer. So,
yeah, has not made his major league debut yet. 29 years old, um, but he's in AAA with the Phillies, so who knows? Maybe he gets a chance there. A person who blew up the prospect charts in 2019, according to Jonathan Mayo, Michael Beltre. Michael Beltray, a signee from 2013, now 28 years old. What can you tell us about Michael?
Um, I don't know that he made it in the Reds organization past that 2019 season.
Hmm.
He was very average in Double A Chattanooga, and it looks like he, well, he's not on a team right now, um, but it looks like he ended up maybe going Rule 5, or the Reds just released him after that 2019 season. But to be honest, I haven't heard much about Beltran.
He plays for the Leones del Escogido right now. Um, yeah, too bad. It seems like he had a lot of physical tools. A 60 run grade, um, outfielder, but yeah, switch hitter, but doesn't look like he'll be back.
No.
Um, uh, a 2011 signee from San Francisco, Kiri Mella or
Indeed.
Maya. Um, Anything about him?
He was in the Mike Leake trade with Adam Duvall in 2015. Um, he made a couple of appearances with the Reds, if I'm not mistaken, from 2017 to 2019.
Correct.
And actually uh, threw a couple games for Arizona in
Mm-hmm.
actually threw 11 games for Arizona in the COVID season and had a 1.8 ERA.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but threw only 2 games in 2021 with them, didn't go so well. And now it looks like he's playing in the Mexican League. So no longer in pro baseball, but I would still say the Reds won that trade. They came away with Adam Duvall, who was an all-star for them, and
Mm-hmm.
Mike Leake never really was Mike Leake again after he left the Reds.
Now, a man who I believe John Boy called the human frisbee,
Yep,
Jimmy Herget.
the
Um,
human frisbee, the human glitch looks
mhm.
nothing like a baseball play.
Yep. Um, yeah. What can you tell us about the 30-year-old?
Well, he was obviously in some top 30 lists for the Reds. He got a very quick cameo in Cincy before being DFA'd after the 2019 season. Um, Bounced around to Texas, and then in the middle of 2021, he got picked up by the Angels. Um, he has some pretty nasty stuff and pretty funky delivery. I think the issue is he throws high 80s,
Hmm.
and I also think he's had uh, some control problems and just not getting many swing and misses. So maybe serviceable for the Angels, who are always in the market for some pitching. Um, but yeah, definitely an interesting player. Jimmy Herget is nice guy though. I do remember meeting him at Reds Fest a couple of years ago.
Number 18, a player for the Staten Island Ferry Hawks right now, Mariel Bautista. Um, I will confess, I've never heard of this guy before in my life. Um, Anything you've heard about Mariel?
Well, I don't fault you for not knowing anything about him. He didn't really make it too far in the Reds minor league system. He played in rookie ball for 4 years, it looks like. And actually, a pretty solid hitter there, but then he went to affiliate ball, in Dayton, and pretty average 630 OPS. That was in 2019. Um, the COVID season wiped out all of that. I would doubt he was at the alternate site during 2020. So he had a full season taken away from him. So kind of stinks for him. But in 2021, which was his last year with the Reds, or really any MLB team, he played slightly above average in Dayton, just a sub 800 OPS, but got bumped up to Chattanooga for a 10-game cameo and was very bad. So that was the last we've heard from Bautista.
All right, number 19, James Marinan, 25-year-old, still with the Reds. What can you tell us about James, and does he have a future with us?
I would not say he's a future with us, considering he's an A-ball. He's 25 years old. Um, the last we saw him pitch was in 2022. I'm not sure what, I would assume it was injury that kept him out, 2023. But 2022, he had almost an 8 ERA in high A Dayton. So I don't know if the Reds kept him as organizational depth or what the whole um, plan was, but I don't think he'll be an MLB pitcher.
Mm-hmm. Number 20, Packy Naughton.
He was also part of a deadline deal, if I recall. Oh yeah, he was the return for our good friend Brian Goodwin in the COVID season. Um, so he was sent to the Angels for Brian Goodwin. Goodwin was a interesting player for the Reds. He was all right. Um, but Naughton was with the Angels for a while, and then 2022 he was DFA'd, picked up by St. Louis, and I actually think he's played a decent amount for them at the major league spot. I don't know how good it's been, but he's made some major league appearances.
Mm-hmm. Now, for the last few minutes, I'm just going to go over some people from other websites. This is from minorleagueball.com. Uh, most have Senzel, Green, and Trammell as the consensus top three. However, there's a big shift in the 6 through 10 spots. Number 6 is Shed Long. Shed Long from high school in Alabama. What can you tell us about Shed?
Shed was the return for Sonny Gray. Believe that season or the season before, he actually had a pretty good year. Almost ended up making it to the big league team. At that time, the big league team wasn't good. This would have been a September cameo, but credit to him, he had a good year in the minors, and then we ended up trading him for Sonny Gray, which definitely worked out well. But then I believe he was rerouted to Seattle. Might have played a couple major league games with them. Not sure what he's up to now, though.
Yeah, quick search of Shed Long tells me that he is playing for the Olmecas de Tabasco in the Mexican League.
Another Mexican league. That's crazy.
Yep. Just a couple more. Number 8 on the slot is a man who got kind of viral on social media for his name, Jeter Downs. Jeter Downs, a shortstop. I was high on him, I remember, but never really panned out for the Reds nor for any other team. I know he was on the Red Sox for a while.
He
Anything on
actually got
Jeter?
part of a couple big deals.
Right.
He was well first with the Reds. He was traded for Matt Kemp, Yasiel Puig, and Kyle Farmer, and then from the Dodgers, he was sent to Washington um, as part of the Trey Turner and Max Scherzer deal. And then from there, I think he was DFA'd, picked up by a couple different teams. But again, not much success.
Yeah, this website gives him a grade of an A for Jeter Downs, um, but never really broke through for us. This is someone who has broken through. He's the ace of the Washington Nationals, who we were able to kind of tattoo on opening day, Josiah Gray. Um, Remind me what trade he was involved in.
He was also in that Scherzer Trey Turner deal. Um, that involved him, Keeper Ruiz, Jeter Downs. Um, but yeah, Gray's actually had some success. Um, take ace lightly because it's Washington and their staff is not the greatest. And I will say I'm not the biggest fan of Gray. He doesn't throw very hard, but hey, he has actually been an all-star before, so I can't take that away from him.
That's true. Not a great MLB The Show card either.
No, no.
Um, One more that I just want to address, um, and this is one that I thought the Reds kind of get away, because I had high hopes. Jose Garcia, aka Jose Barrero, um, now in the Rangers organization, Cuban player, um, came up in that 2020 season for us. What can you tell us about Jose?
Yeah, I really think the Reds messed up the whole development with him. He all of a sudden after the COVID season, he was working at the alternate site. He caught fire and was blazing through the minor leagues. And the Reds called him up with him never playing a game above April, just because they needed a shortstop. But
Mhm.
all the tools in the world, I know the Rangers have kept him for extended spring training. Seen a couple tweets about that. I think they're treating him as a big project. Because I mean, if it all clicks together for him, he can really be a threat. It's just the swing and miss right now, but great power, great in the field. So if he puts it all together, he can be a solid player.
Yeah, that was 20 or so Reds prospects from 2019.